hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And get you out of my head. Get you out of my head again.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling that I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of two clouds. So tell me the storm is coming, so I'm sick of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks, I beat it down. I cross the lines just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a sign. That I drown with a jump in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Please note.
Well, this just in. We are all shook. The Royal Rumble has wrapped, and we're on our local establishment. I'm Bobby Munson, and joined by a wonderful panel of guests. Beside me is Jose on the air. Jose Gonzalez, how are you doing this evening?
Well, we are on show 3 of 3 for me today. It's been a live streaming marathon, and I can honestly say of all the outcomes to close the show, that was not one that was on my bingo card, but I mean, we're going to unpack it here shortly, so.
I would be pleasantly surprised if anybody had predicted that ending on their bingo card. But also joining us here tonight, right below us, it's Ella J. Ella, how are you doing tonight?
I am also shook. This is my first stream of the day, so I'm feeling pretty refreshed. But my voice is kind of like meh from screaming at that ending. Not necessarily a bad thing, but like we said, shook. Like that was not even in like my top 10. We should have known once. I mean, we'll get into it. The winner got down to like the final 3. Like that should have raised a red flag in my mind, but it didn't. So
See, I wasn't going there. I was thinking it's either the most obvious scenario or the
Yeah.
worst case scenario with no in between.
yeah, that's fair.
Very fair. STG's in the chat saying this is definitely a Mark overlay. It was a Mark overlay, a Mark intro, all those things, and he still couldn't make it here tonight. He's feeling under the weather. And STG says Jose likes taken, so he's followed your channel.
Mhm.
And Punk Orsina was on STG's bingo card for the win tonight. Definitely not what we ended up seeing. But we started this night off by seeing Stephanie McMahon come out. Actually, Stephanie McMahon making an appearance for first time in quite some time. What did you both think of Stephanie's appearance here tonight?
I honestly thought that Stephanie might have been in the Rumble tonight.
That would have been interesting.
To me, it wasn't much of a surprise because she was just on the Pat McAfee show and she said like she's back. So like this is a perfect way to kick it off. You know, after we saw a teaser of her, you know, with Stephanie's Places coming out, and then in the Triple H Hall of Fame video, I think we're going to be seeing her a lot more. I don't know if that means like back in like a corporate role, or if that just means like back is like a ambassador role or something, you know. But she's back at least on our screens again.
Yeah. I'm excited for whatever she has coming up. I feel like Stephanie has always been a good personality to have on TV. It'll be interesting to see if we're going to see her on weekly TV more, if it's going to be kind of like her popping up with these PLEs like she's done with WrestleMania, now the Rumble. So I'm excited.
She's a good name for hyping up a show and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, she's great on a microphone. She came out, did her thing, and yeah, it didn't take up too much time, so we got right down to it. And then of course they give a cold open video package to Pat McAfee to start the show off from there. And then we go down to the women's Royal Rumble match to kick off the show. Before we even talk about the entrance or anything like that, I just want to get a quick thought overall on the women's Royal Rumble matchup. What your thoughts were, Ella? How much did you enjoy this one? Was this a top Royal Rumble for you?
Top Royal Rumble. There was definitely some cool spots, like Nia eliminating like 6 women at once and then eliminating 2 more right after. Like that was definitely a big spot. Jordan coming back was super cool. So happy and proud of Roxanne. That is so well deserved. Her being the final 2. The Chelsea Piper bit was funny. I feel like the middle was a bit like from like 5 to like 15, it felt like meh. You know, but like the beginning was strong. And then like the Chelsea Piper spot was fun, but then it really started revving up in like the last like 10 people, you know. So we got to see a lot of cool face-offs. There was the teaser too of Naomi and Jordan hugging each other, and then Bianca rips Jordan off of Naomi. So that's something to keep your eye on too. Nikki Bella was a super cool number 30. I think most of us either had Becky or AJ in there. Totally forgot about Nikki, so that was a pleasant surprise. Trish Stratus, 25. We kind of called it because it's her 25-year anniversary. Overall, I would say I like it. I don't think it's my favorite. I think 2018 is still my personal favorite. But I would say like a top 3 Rumble for me.
Nice touch. STG saying he didn't love it quite that much, but Roxanne was definitely the star.
Yeah.
And Bianca Jealousy was the best build there.
Yeah.
Jose, your thoughts on the women's Royal Rumble?
Okay, I am going to make a controversial yet brave statement. I enjoyed the women's Rumble more than I enjoyed the men's Rumble this year. Because I feel like with the way that certain things were laid out, it felt like they actually let things marinate, they let things sink in. It had the longevity that I love with a Royal Rumble because you have those clear like Iron Man, Iron Woman spots where you kind of see if it's truly going to be that battle of attrition or if it's going to be that one big return or that last entrant that really makes the most of them having that draw. Like it felt like the way that the women's Rumble was positioned is that you had like a good amount of new faces with NXT. You had your established roster members. You had legends coming back. You had some really big returns that paid off greatly, I think, as far as reactions go. But It felt like they had more of an emphasis on the match itself rather than the entrance like the Men's Rumble did. And I think it helped make for a better match overall.
Now, would having AJ or Becky take the number 30 spot overshadowed the return of Alexa Bliss? Because Alexa got a massive pop upon returning today.
I don't think it would have overshadowed Alexa at all. And ultimately, I don't think it would have overshadowed the result of the match either. I feel like if anything, those kind of reactions can all coexist within each other, because you think about the fact that nobody expected Nikki Bella and she got a great pop. Alexa might have had the pop of the night out of everybody, and that's including Joe Hendry in the Men's Rumble that I'm sure we're going to get to much later on in the show. But I feel like for the moments that they wanted a reaction for, they really got the most of it, which is all I can ask for.
Wasn't Alexa also, I mean, I might be wrong, also eliminated before number 30 came out?
No, Trish was eliminated before number 30 came out. Or actually, wait a minute.
Alexa was eliminated before Trish.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, I believe she was.
She definitely was.
Yeah. So like, I don't think it overshadowed it because of that. She was already gone by then, you know? I'm not mad at it though. Nikki Bella is a fun, I'm surprised it wasn't Becky, but like I get it though. Like you have Alexa coming back and Charlotte, who you know are going to be full time. I guess having 3 full-time returns in one match may be a bit much. You might want to save Becky, so like I get it. But yeah,
I will say, sorry to cut you off. I feel like I would not have had one NXT talent in there, considering who we had ringside immediately after the Rumble.
I know they teased to me. So, Bobby, if you don't know, like one of my top dream matches is Mickie James versus Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte wins. And then they show Mickie like 5 minutes later sitting at ringside. And I'm like, hello?
That would be an amazing match. I want that match as well, too.
Yeah, given the impact that one of the NXT competitors had in the match and how it did not factor at all, that could have been a Mickie James spot. But we'll get into it as we go entrant by entrant.
Yeah. SDG saying Alexa should have been late 20s or even 30 herself. We got Nathan joining in the chat saying, hoping Io Sky wins the Elimination Chamber, but Charlotte Flair winning the Rumble is the worst. I don't know about the worst, but yeah, Io and Julia having a face-to-face, nice thing within here. A lot of little stories going on in this as well, too. Like we saw Ivy Nile eliminate Lyra Valkyria and kind of indicate that she's coming for the Intercontinental title. Chelsea Green had some really fun spots in the Royal Rumble, especially with a couple of eliminations that she had, hiding behind Piper Niven. The things that really get Chelsea over with the crowd were, you know, on display here. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was great. Of course, Charlotte coming back, fantastic for the roster. You know, did she need to win the Rumble? Maybe not necessarily, but I think if you're going to have one obvious one, that's why we got the surprise one later on. So Charlotte, the obvious one. Now, my question is, who's she going to go against? Like the rumors going is Tiffany at WrestleMania, but do we want Tiffany and Charlotte at WrestleMania? Is that a WrestleMania worthy matchup?
I sure do.
Yeah, we've already had, I mean, not that I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but like we've already had Rhea and Charlotte twice at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Granted,
and I don't think they're going to make a whole story on a rubber match either.
Yeah. So like that's the match. And because this year too was supposed to be in Tiffany's hometown of like Minnesota, and her dream match was, you know, Charlotte Flair. So I think they're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I hope so. It's great. STG saying his hometown girl is growing on him a bit, enjoying Chelsea's character work. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'm just trying to see anything else about the Rumble. No, I mean, Jordan obviously made a big impact with her stuff there. You know, again, we go back to the star of this whole thing. Roxanne broke the record for the longest stay in a Royal Rumble by any woman in history. It was announced later in the card. She actually broke the record.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am genuinely like, so like I started crying tears of joy like once I realized she got down to the final 3. Like me and Roxanne have been good like acquaintances for 5 years, like, and I interviewed her like way back on the indies. I've been following her since I want to say she was like 16, 15, something like that. And just to see where she is, she has remained so humble and she's so good. And if she wasn't going to win, hell, Iron Woman and runner up, not too shabby, my girl. Not too shabby at all.
And it was a great introduction in front of a large audience like that. They put her in a high place. So if she makes that transition over to a Raw or SmackDown now, she's been well introduced to the audience. That
Yeah.
I think that they can get behind Roxanne as a top player on the women's division.
She was my dark horse to win. Charlotte was my first pick. Io was second, but I thought Roxanne could have been a dark horse because she has history with both Tiffany and Rhea. And if I thought maybe, you know, if they're going to have like the first NXT call up win a Rumble, Roxanne would be a great candidate to do it. Obviously she didn't win, but they very well think highly of her. So I'm excited. With the comment earlier from Nathan, the reason I picked Charlotte to win was because I think Io is going to be the other person. I think Io is more entertaining in Chamber. Like, have you seen that girl in War Games and like high like caliber matches and like cages? So that's why I thought Charlotte's going to win Rumble and Io's going to win Chamber. I think Io is more entertaining in Chamber. Now it could be Bianca. There's rumors that it could be Bianca facing Rhea. But like, I mean, we'll see.
Both those options are great.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Io. Io is extremely entertaining. And
I mean, I
Io
would love that. I'm going to be at Elimination Chamber, so I would love to see Io in there too.
See, I can't even watch that one live. I'm out of town that day.
Ah,
I know. And in my home country, I can't even support it.
yeah.
Oh, well. It's Toronto. It barely counts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. We're going to go over to the tag team match. 2 out of 3 falls. It's DIY defending against the Motor City Machine Guns. Jose, I want to start with you. Thoughts on this matchup?
So I feel like we probably, as a whole, put more hype into the match than what actually ended up resulting
I
from the
didn't.
match. I feel like when we think of DIY and a 2 out of 3 falls match, we
Mhm.
all think of DIY versus the Revival NXT TakeOver Toronto back in 2016. We know what both teams are capable of. I think it's a combination of you have a match that goes immediately after a Rumble where the crowd has exuded so much energy. You also have a match where you know it's not really going to pick up until both teams get that pinfall and it's sudden death. And then you also throw in the extra wrinkle of now we have outside interference that kind of soils the finish of the match with Street Profits making their way in and attacking Alex Shelley with the crutch. And then that leads to DIY retaining, only to attack DIY after the match. So yes, it was nice to have the tag titles on a PLE for the first time since WrestleMania. I don't think it lived up to anybody's expectations, and it's probably going to keep the tag titles off of a PLE until WrestleMania too.
Yeah, and here's the worst part. Like, I like both these teams. I really like tag team wrestling being on display at PLEs. I think it should happen more often. And I don't really watch the weekly stuff as often as everybody else kind of thing. So I wasn't like accustomed to seeing these two teams really tear down the house yet, but they didn't really tear down the house. And it could be the result of going right after a Royal Rumble like that too. It's like you have to follow up the Royal Rumble, and that's never going to be an easy task. And you're kind of in the position already that you are not maybe the strongest match going into this entire premium live event as it is. So there's the pressure to try to perform in order to kind of, make yourself a little bit more valuable on that. And I don't think really either team did anything wrong, but I don't think they did anything to really make us remember this as one of the great tag team title matches at a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think it's also
sorry.
So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's also the fact I'm looking at the runtime. They only went 14 minutes bell to bell, and that's with all 3 falls. So it really felt like they were just trying to get it in quick and then get out because you're setting up for probably the biggest non-Rumble match that we've seen with the Rumble in quite some time, which definitely takes its time. So I don't know. I think it was a victim of circumstance more so than the components of the match.
That's fair. Your thoughts, Ella?
I was saying as I was watching it, I was like, we already have 2 falls, and I didn't feel like we were even 10 minutes in. Kind of like you guys said, though, like I like both teams. They're very great workers. But honestly, like if I did have to cover this match, I probably would have used it as a snack break. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I wasn't invested that much, even though I like both teams. But when you're on like a big Rumble, it just felt like a placeholder. Like, oh, we need another match. It can't be a 3-match card. It felt like it was kind of like a consolation thing. which sucked. And the length, I feel like maybe could have been like 5 minutes longer. So like all around, it obviously not the worst match ever. It just felt rushed, and it felt kind of like a consolation. Like, yeah, it's nice, but it like didn't feel necessary, you know?
Yeah, almost like if they knew they were only going to be given that much time, why do
Yeah.
2 out of 3 falls?
Yeah.
Maybe just have a straight tag title match.
Yeah, and I also thought like I was like MCMG like just lost the titles like a month and a half ago, and like DIY like his only held them their reign before that was only like 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, why would they be transitional champs to them to the team they just beat? You know, so that felt kind of odd. I was like, DIY is not losing this. I was surprised though that it was not Pretty Deadly and it was the Street Profits. So at least there's that.
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
it wasn't the team that. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
No. I was going to
I
say,
get
yeah, the
why,
Street Profits was
you know?
a shock. So I want to get
Yeah.
your thoughts on that. Like, where does it go from there?
They want the titles back. That's what they're doing. They want to beat specifically DIY because DIY. I liked how I think it was Michael Cole or Wade Barrett who explained it. DIY were the ones who attacked the Street Profits and then got their title shot, and then they won the title. So they helped them because they want to beat them. They don't want to beat MCMG. So it made sense why they did it. I will say, yeah, like I enjoyed that. I thought it'd be Pretty Deadly. It was Street Profits. So that was a good surprise there.
What's that?
Yeah, I feel like I know we've been talking like about like what we think the Elimination Chamber matches are going to be. I feel like if they do have one for the women, I don't think the men's is going to be for whoever is going to face Cody more than likely. I think they're going to do a tag title Elimination Chamber match because you have so many teams on SmackDown that are trying to heat things up. So I could see them do like DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns versus the Profits versus Legado del Fantasma versus Garza and Angel versus Pretty Deadly. So you check all those boxes. They've done it before for the men and the women. I feel like if you're going to try to double down that SmackDown has the more contentious of the tag titles, especially given the history that we've seen where they were not afraid to toss around the belts. It's not like Sasha and Charlotte bad in 2016, but like they're willing to do more with the titles, even if it's just on TV, rather than just having it sit on a stable that does nothing for months on end. And then they forget that they have to defend the titles and you get one proper defense and then same thing until they drop it. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's an interesting take to do the tag titles at the Elimination Chamber, especially with how much Cena's been teasing the idea of him doing his last chamber match as well too. But I kind of like it. That would be a cool swerve. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, and it's a way to protect Cena for WrestleMania if he's concerned about injury. Don't have him
That
do the Elimination
that
Chamber
is
match.
why
Close to the
I
end.
thought he was going to win the Rumble because I was like, they're not going to put this man in chamber and risk getting injured, and then he's out the rest of the duration of his retirement match or retirement tour. I was like, they're not putting him in chamber, which is why I thought he was going to win Rumble, and then he didn't. So he's advertised for chamber, so like now you have to put him in. You have to put him in a chamber match because it's one last time now. You know.
I think
But
he can still do a
I'm
stable
worried.
match.
I'm
I think
worried.
It's more about him being at the event than in the match.
What if he
Well,
ends
like-
up there one-on-one with Logan Paul?
Possible, but I think like if you're getting to Cody Rhodes and John Cena again, assuming that's happening, that is fairly obvious what's going to happen, right?
At this point, I genuinely don't know.
That's fair because we just had a surprise.
Well, not even just that, but like I feel like at this point, Cody is so removed from other things. I feel like if you're going to have Gunther go against Jey Uso more than likely for the World Heavyweight title, I say you pump the brakes on Cena's 17th. You wait till later in the year, have him get his Grand Slam with the Intercontinental Championship, have him drop the Intercontinental Championship to Sheamus so he gets his Grand Slam. And then you can still have like Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, all that, and then close out the year of him dropping it to whoever.
I don't hate that if the Mania match is Cody and Orton. I don't hate that.
I like the sound of that match too. This is some good booking here tonight. Speaking of good booking, wow, we got one hell of a gimmick match up next, the ladder match between KO and Cody Rhodes. And I just want to say a disclaimer. Earlier today during the preview show, I made a comment in the chat about Kevin Owens and I got some heat for it because I said he's not necessarily a world champion. He's great at being an upper guy that puts over big stars. And I took a lot of slack for this comment. And I just want to say, I don't dislike Kevin Owens. This wasn't a slight against Kevin Owens. I think he's a great worker. I just don't think he's the world champion worker that everybody else says he is. That's just my opinion. But I had a lot of those opinions squashed tonight in this performance between him and Cody Rhodes, because this was one of the best one-on-one ladder matches I have seen in a long time. Jose, as you nod in your head, I definitely want to hear your thoughts here.
It's been a while since we've had a good, violent ladder match on WWE television, especially a singles one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the last singles ladder match on like the main roster, was that Bianca versus Bayley from Extreme Rules a few years ago?
That may have been.
Yeah,
That's the last one I recall.
I mean, it's also like more of this new era of WWE where they're not afraid to get a lot more physical again. I mean, we were seeing blood regularly, whether it was hard way or not, which it actually looked like it was hard way on the table. But regardless, we're not afraid to hold back on the violence anymore because we're bringing more of the sport back into sports entertainment. So having someone as experienced in a ladder match as a Kevin Owens, whether it's in WWE or if it's in Ring of Honor, obviously he's no stranger to ladder war when it was Kevin Steen versus El Generico. I'm sure the Honor Rambo crew is going to love me making that reference, but you have someone that's had so many iconic ladder matches. I mean, him versus Finn Balor, Takeover Brooklyn in 2015 back in NXT. He's not afraid to do whatever it takes to either win the match or die trying. And then you have someone like Cody Rhodes, who, again, no stranger to ladder matches. The one he had in AEW with Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship is another iconic singles ladder match. I mean, we're talking about the fact that you have two men that are willing to win at all costs or literally leave themselves a shell of themselves in the ring or ringside for the sake of putting on a good show. Those two elements with a feud that's been extremely violent, extremely personal. We've seen them try to get their hands on each other everywhere possible over the last 6 weeks. I felt like it had all the makings for a great ladder match, and boy, did it deliver on it.
Very much so. Yeah. Ella, your thoughts?
You know how we were saying the tag match felt rushed?
Yeah.
This match had the opposite problem for me. I think Cody and Kevin, you know, they had some great spots. Cody reversing out a pile driver twice. That little mini ladder spot, that mini ladder was confusing to me a little bit. I think it was solid, but this match felt like it dragged like 10 minutes too long. I was like, can we hurry it up, guys? Maybe it was because too I was antsy for the men's rumble, but this match went about a half hour. I think it easily could have gone like 22 to 25. Like it just felt like 5 to 7 minutes too long.
It was 25:05 up for
oh really
match times. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, it still felt like 5 minutes too long. It kind of dragged, and I was just like, can we just get done with this after a while, you know? I was scared for Kevin Owens getting busted open. I hope he's okay.
I think that busted open twice too.
Yeah. I did enjoy seeing at the end Cody, like the madman comment. It's not often that we see Cody like actually like show aggression, you know, and look like a madman. So that was fun. Again, I mean, it's a solid match. Just felt like it dragged on a little bit for me. Once I got to like the 20-minute mark, I'm like, can we wrap this up? You know? And maybe again it was because I was antsy for the men's rumble. But this match, I feel like you could have allocated 5 minutes of this to the tag match and I would have been fine. But that's just me.
Fair assessment. I mean, it was great to see color happen, whether it was hard way or not. It was a nice touch, especially in a gimmick match, a ladder match like this, when they put their bodies through absolute hell. Like the spots they were doing onto the ladder every single time, I was cringing. I'm like, they took the bumps properly, but there is nothing that you can do properly to make that feel good at the same time. Like they were busted up pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, I think I was going back and just kind of looking like there were so many different spots that's just like, oh my God, did he hit the back of his head? I would think, yeah, the back body drop that KO took on the ladder that was set up on the side. So like there was absolutely no give. You have when they were doing the fisherman suplex off the rope and it looks like KO hits the back of his head and Cody hits most of the ladder, the power bomb into the ladder. I felt like there were just so many moments where it's just like, oh my God, like, can we not? But then ultimately we get to probably the that's going to be stuck in all the highlight reels for 2025, because I mean it's only February 1st, but I'm sure it's going to get its circulation. That counter on the announce table, KO's going for that package pile driver one more time. Cody, by hook or by crook, he gets him up. That Alabama slam through the ladder, where you see not only is KO busted open from hitting the announce table on like above his right eye, there's another cut in his skull from taking that Alabama slam through the ladder to the floor. He's there folded on top of his head for 5 minutes or so as we get Cody finally climbing and retrieving the belts to retain the championship. And just, damn, what a way to go home, I guess.
Yeah, I like the fact that it continues to solidify Cody as a really strong fighting champion, willing to go the extra mile to keep the title. Like the way he turns it on in this matchup too, when he starts really snapping on Kevin Owens, it kind of is at that point where Cody's realizing the stress and the anguish that being champion has played on him over this past year. And then the threat of what happens when you win this one. You win this fight that you've gone through hell with, and coming right up next is the Rumble, where you are targeted by 30 superstars. There are 30 people that are looking at a target on your back to make their name off you in only a couple months' time. But speaking of which, why don't we talk about that men's Royal Rumble? All right, I want to know first from you, Ella. What did you think of the men's Rumble?
Well, Penta, my man, like started it off almost like I need to go look at it. At least I swear to God, both of his feet touched.
Yep.
Penta, my man, like almost blew that right out the gate. I was like, Ray and Penta 1 and 2 great, and then they almost had that like botch. Like, I mean, I was like, oh my God. Then he finally got on track though. He, I believe, was the Iron Man of that match. The second half was so heavy hitting that you had the great first 2 people, but then like it's like you're like going through the motions. There after like Ray and Penta, there really wasn't any like big spots until like a Jacob Fatu came in, which he was like 13 or 12 or whatever. So for like 10 spots, It kind of felt like, you're going through like some motions and stuff. The second half though definitely picked up. Like you had Cena, Reigns, Punk, Rollins staring off. It felt very weird, but very cool scenes in there. Like you had so many contenders in there. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu did with exactly what he had to do, throw everybody out. They followed up on the storyline with Braun. Once we got down, I will say my one grievance. Where can we swear on here?
You go right ahead.
Where the fuck was Kofi Kingston?
Yeah.
Where the fuck was Kofi?
That's not my where the fuck in the men's Rumble.
Man. So obviously, Kofi is now tied second of all time with The Miz, because The Miz entered and Kofi didn't. So now they're tied for second of all time in the most Rumble appearances. They gave the Kofi spot to Logan, is like the other grievance. Was not expecting Jey Uso to win. I should have had alarm bells going off once Jey Uso got to the final 3. I was like, this is odd. Like, I like Jay, but I was like, there was so many other stacked people in there. I was like, I won't be mad at it, but I wasn't expecting it. Not expecting Jey Uso to win. When he eliminated Cena, I literally screamed and was like, is this another botch? Did we have a botch at the beginning and end? I thought about that for a minute. And I don't know if it was planned like that. Like, I don't know. But this is one of the first times in the last few years where it's a genuine surprise at who wins. Like, I don't think anybody had Jey Uso on their bingo card with all those stacked roster members in there. I will say though, to me, if he loses to Gunther again, this feels like a waste of a Rumble win. If he does not beat Gunther at WrestleMania, to me, this is a waste. They need to pull the he's had so many chances and he's lost when it comes to the world title. They need to pull the trigger on him, or else honestly this is a waste. You could have given it to Cena, could have given it to Punk or Roman or somebody. I did like the spot with Roman, Punk, and Rollins brawling. That was a cool thing. Now it's just up to WWE to capitalize If you have Jey Uso lose, this is a waste.
Yeah, and again, with the way they built it too, I mean, he's the underdog that's been trying to topple Gunther, hasn't been able to,
Yeah.
and Gunther has antagonized him. It's perfect
Mhm.
opportunity for the babyface to come out from behind and topple Gunther, the big bad. Gunther is the perfect big bad for WrestleMania, to be toppled by the babyface. It's why him losing to Sami Zayn went over so well. Him losing to Jey Uso will not damage Gunther in any way and will only continue to help Jey. It was a surprising ending. And I know, Jose, you had some great thoughts. We were talking before we went live here, and I'm really curious to get your thoughts here too on this Rumble.
Gosh, I mean, this Rumble, it felt like, I mean, I mentioned it before, very stop and go. I feel like there were a lot of omissions from this Rumble that really could have made a more compelling Rumble story. I feel like the I Show speed spot was certainly a choice. I mean, it got a good pop from the crowd. I mean, we all kind of figured like there's always going to be that one Rumble where someone doesn't make it in, who's going to replace it.
I thought it'd be the Miz and the Wyatt Six.
I was
then
thinking
it
that was going to be
wasn't.
the case too.
Yeah.
Shout out to the TNA World Champion Joe Hendry making his
Yes.
Rumble debut. Huge pop as he deserved. Only to get tossed out by Roman Reigns. So I guess, I mean, that's not a bad rub to get like in your first Royal Rumble as the first male TNA star to enter a Royal Rumble, let alone TNA World Champion to be on WWE TV. So getting tossed out by their company man, there's no shame in that. I, for the longest, was kind of dreading the last 5 participants because it felt like after Seth got in the ring, it's just like, oh shit, we still have Logan Paul. And then every other
Forgot
person
about
that,
Logan.
no, literally every
I
other person
genuinely
after like Dominic, I'm like, oh shit, we still have Logan Paul. And then a regular person came in, oh shit, we still have Logan Paul. And then when LA Knight's music hit, I just literally moved my mic to the side. I stared at the camera for 2 straight minutes because I dreaded the fact that
I forgot about
we did
Logan.
not have the number 30 that we deserved. We did not have a big number 30.
Where was Trick Williams? Where was Kofi Kingston?
I literally said it. I was thinking in my head, why is there's no Trick Williams? There was no Big E.
Well, if you're not going to have Kofi or Xavier in there, you're not going to have Big E.
Yeah.
If anything, it's more the ammunition for them to continue the story because, like, you really couldn't be there for us where our families are turning our back, but you get cleared, you magically show up in the Rumble to not even win it. That's a story. You could have had Wade Barrett for all we fucking care.
Okay, like, I get like there was some participants that were, you needed feeders for Jacob Fatu. Like, and I love Ludwig Kaiser, but like, you could have like, you could have taken off some of those feeders to Jacob Fatu and given it to Big E. Or I wanted Wade Barrett. I wanted Wade Barrett and John Cena. Like, you could have done so many things.
If they wanted to surprise at number 30, you have AJ Styles be number 30 at that point. Because that was a return I was not prepared for, and I actually was genuinely surprised about.
I was so happy. He came back to his old theme song too. It was great.
Yeah, I feel like Braun Strowman was kind of a wild card because I wasn't expecting him to be back after the way that he was taken out on Saturday night's main event to also take out Jacob Fatu. So that was an interesting choice there.
I think that was a good way to take Fatu out without making Fatu's elimination silly.
Yeah.
I think it worked
I thought
very
Roman
well.
would have thrown him out.
Maybe. I think there's still a lot of plans for Roman and Fatu when they do truly have something to go with. I don't think they're going to pull that trigger just yet, but I think when they do, we're going to be in for some great entertainment because Fatu's great. I love everything about Fatu.
Oh, no, he looked great in the Rumble. I had no doubt about that. Fun fact, him and Roman both have the same amount of eliminations as well as Braun Breaker. They all capped out at 4 tonight. So
nice.
That's another thing that they could add to the tail of the tape when it comes to their eventual singles match, which I'm sure there's a good chance we get that singles match in some way, shape, or form at WrestleMania this year if they want to hype it up, or maybe SummerSlam.
I'd like that's a good like non-title singles feud that we don't get often, like the 1 year, was it for the world title? Was Logan and was Seth? No, Seth wasn't champion then. He won the title a month after. Like, I'm just giving it as an example. Like, it's not often that we get like non-title singles feuds,
Yeah.
The most recent one I can think of is Seth and Logan from 2 years ago.
No, you're definitely not
No,
wrong.
we were enjoying Jacob too. He was in there. Yeah, he was in there for what he should have been, throwing people out. I think personally he should have had the most. But it makes sense too that he was eliminated by Braun because he's the one who, took out Braun with those 3 moonsaults. I honestly enjoyed the men's more than the women's.
I
think.
disagree.
And that's fair.
Hey, Throwback, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us as well, too. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed the whole show, to be honest. I didn't like, aside from the tag match, and even that wasn't terrible. Like, I thought I had a good time. I thought the men's rumble was great. I thought the women's rumble was maybe a little bit better. I thought maybe there was some little storylines being built there, even like some of the more mid-card storylines that were being intertwined in the women's as opposed to the men's. But the men's, we did have some really interesting stuff, especially the Seth stuff with him attacking both Roman and CM Punk on the outside and stamping like he did and staring down Paul Heyman the way he did. And Paul's always great at what he does with him, just laying over top of Roman Reigns there. Look what you've done. Look what you've done. I think it's just brilliant moments like that I really, really enjoyed in this one. Again, the shock moment was mind-blowing. Like, when it came to the final three, I'm looking at him going, okay, they're giving this to Cena. It totally threw me. I was like, I know how popular Jay's become, but I'm like, they haven't done anything to pull the trigger with him. And notoriously, the WWE sense has always been, someone gets over on their own, don't worry about it. It'll last. And we've seen people fizzle right out. And Jay's continued to get over and over and over. And they pulled that trigger, and they had Cena come in and hug him afterwards and celebrate. That whole entire building was absolutely ruckus. And breaking news.
Look at the comment. Look at the comment from Throwback.
Okay. Cena just declared in the presser he is going after 17. I'm doing this because it's what's best for business, not my business, but the business as a whole, because I want to raise that hand who gets 18. He also declared he is going to be in the chamber.
Yeet!
So he's declared
John
himself in
Cena
the chamber.
winning Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
I mean, he's done it before.
Yeah.
How do you protect him in that? Do you have him come out last then?
That's
and just
what I'm
make sure he doesn't do the
about,
spots?
Well, I mean, also, it's a lot softer of a chamber than it was historically. I mean, think about it. His last world title reign came to an end inside of Elimination Chamber in 2017 when Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship. So is it storied past? You think about when he was first in the Elimination Chamber, New Year's Revolution 2006, bloodied, bruised. He somehow defied the odds. He retained, only to get cashed in on for Money in the Bank immediately after. So it feels like he has to conquer Elimination Chamber like solidly to go into WrestleMania. So that'll be interesting.
So John Cena has
I am more than thrilled. But I'm worried for him at the same time. I thought, like I said, he was winning Rumble because like Chamber is like the grueling structure. I know he's like won it before, but I'm just I thought they wouldn't want to risk him getting like injured or hurt and then like it screws everything up. That's why I was like scared to put him in Chamber. But I mean, if he's feeling good, and it depends also who he's in there with, people who can protect him. So like we'll see. He's got to win though.
Well, I imagine
STG makes a good point. That's if we're assuming that Jay's going to pick Gunther. He very well could pick Cody.
He could.
God, that feels like such a okay. I think there's a more chance he beats Gunther than he beats Cody. If Jay, I'm telling you, in my mind, if Jay loses at WrestleMania, it is a waste of a Royal Rumble win.
What makes you think that he wouldn't beat Cody?
It's Cody Rhodes.
It's also the fact that they were tag team champions together. It's also the fact that you can play all the drama and drama of the bloodline. Like, whether you like it or not, I feel like his chances are a lot better against a Cody Rhodes than a Gunther, because if you're going to have Gunther challenge anybody and lose at WrestleMania, who's more believable than Super Cena?
It's also very believable, too. I mean, really both.
But also, to me, who's more believable beating a Super Cody?
You have your, at the time, most over babyface dropping the title to your new most over babyface?
I don't know.
That feels like it's going to be
Unless
a Bret
Jay
Hart,
turns
British
heel.
Bulldog kind of situation.
Jay accidentally eliminated Sammy tonight.
Cody I disagree with this.
I don't know. Just whoever Jay does declare, he needs to beat them, or this feels like a waste to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I still strongly believe Jay's going after Gunther. I think that he's going to conquer Gunther at WrestleMania. If Cena wins the Chamber, which it seems like that's the path to go, Cena and Cody's not a bad plan in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that, with what they've built with Cody, that's necessarily a bad idea. Even if Cena's only going to carry it for a short period of time. I mean, maybe Cody's the guy who takes it right back from him. I mean, they could go
I don't
through
expect Cena's
SummerSlam.
reign to be long. Like he just needs to get it. Like that's how, if I recall, 16 he won at Rumble and then lost it at Chamber 3 weeks later to Bray the Fiend, if I recall correctly. So like his 17th doesn't need to be long,
Yeah, exactly. We're April for WrestleMania. Like, yeah, I mean, if you're looking like a few months before we get to SummerSlam, you could really go that route and have Cena drop it at SummerSlam. What's
possible.
This? If Cena wins, Bobby is gonna be till oh yeah. I think he'll carry it till SummerSlam with it, and then work on some other stuff afterwards.
Well,
that would be my guess.
So I know there's backlash, and there's probably gonna be some Saudi show at the end of May that could be at that Saudi show too. I think even him holding it till SummerSlam, I don't know. We'll see though.
We'll find out soon enough.
I mean, Saudi already getting the Rumble next year. I don't think they're going to get Cena's 17th either. I think you get one or the other. You don't get both.
Mm-hmm.
But Cena's done before that show anyway, though, right? Like officially, it's December of this year he's done, or how is that working?
Yeah, he'll be done before the Rumble next year.
Okay.
But I mean, they're gonna probably have King and Queen of the Ring again, or they're probably gonna have like Crown Jewel or some form of a Saudi show because they normally do 2 a year.
Yeah.
So whether have titles exchange,
yeah, mid card ones.
Well, I mean, they've had the women's world titles exchange in the
Liv
Saudi
Morgan.
Shows. Bianca Belair lost to Asuka.
Mean,
actually, didn't Goldberg beat Bray?
Yep, for the Universal
title.
That
was
okay.
So, like,
World Heavyweight Championship
possible.
crown with Seth Rollins winning. Like, world title changes do happen in Saudi.
I think John Cena holding it till SummerSlam would be like, that feels long for Cena's thing. It's possible though. But if he were to drop it anywhere else, it'd probably be at that whatever that Saudi show is, honestly. But we'll see. Also has some house shows. Oh, interesting.
Or I mean, you have if he does win it at WrestleMania, I could see him dropping it at an international show of some sort. I don't know.
Backlash.
If it's gonna be maybe Clash in Paris.
Oh yeah.
There's that too.
That's late August. You think he holds it past SummerSlam?
I think let him have another SummerSlam moment. Who's to even say that he wins it at WrestleMania?
Oh, I think he gets a SummerSlam moment because SummerSlam. Wait, is 2 nights next year or this year? Next year.
It's this year.
Oh, okay.
Well, it would be shocking if Cena did what NXT did. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm curious to know if Cena was to win, who would you like him to drop it to? Who's the person on the way out that Cena drops that belt to?
I'm trying not to be biased.
So here's my thing. Do you put it over to someone established or do you make a new star?
See, I would like to make a new star, but I think I know where Ella's dreaming.
Ella's going to want Randy Orton.
But I think I think his final match being against Randy would be better, though, than him dropping it to Randy.
I think you finally pulled the trigger on Sami Zayn winning a world championship, and Cena's the perfect person to hand it over to him.
I'm okay with that. AJ Styles, I would love to see too. AJ and Cena, one more time.
I'm sure we're gonna get AJ Cena again. I'm sure we're gonna get Cena Punk again. I think we're gonna definitely get Cena Orton again. We're eventually gonna get Cena Cody. But I feel like the actual title change, because it doesn't have to be his last match is the title change. I feel like you can make a new star by giving Sami Zayn that big moment. Whether or not you do what you did with Daniel Bryan when they did it the last time at SummerSlam 2013, and he immediately gets cashed in on. So technically, yes, he was world champion, but at what cost?
I think it could also, granted, he would have to lose his other title. I think it could also be like a Braun Breaker. Because I don't know.
Not anytime soon, no.
What about this scenario? Cena doesn't win at Elimination Chamber and has to win Money in the Bank in order to get that shot.
Bobby,
but actually win
I
it
am
intentionally this year.
Bobby. Don't you even put that into the air.
Because imagine maybe it's Sammy that just like it goes and wins that Elimination Chamber. Maybe Sammy's time.
It is in Canada.
I mean, last time Elimination Chamber was in Canada in his hometown, he lost to Roman. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Honestly, as long as you keep Cena away from Roman Reigns for a while, I'm good.
honestly, I don't think they're gonna touch again.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
Well, STG, hopefully I'm not spitting too much facts there. I mean, we all would like to see Elimination Chamber Cena, but we'll find out soon enough. It's coming up in only a month's time, but that's generally it for the Royal Rumble. I had a great time. I hope you both did as well too, and had a great time being here. So, yeah, let's just go find some credentials so we can let everybody know where to find each other and all that kind of stuff. There's so many of these things in here. I don't know where any of them are anymore, but we are going to start with Jose. I found Jose. So Jose, let us know what you got coming up and where people can find you.
Yeah, I mean, every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, I'm here in OLE with Auntie Collins for the Mother Tuck and Post Show, talking all things RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17. You could also find me pretty much anywhere, Jose on the Air. JoseOnTheAir.com has all your essential links. Don't know if we're doing a Raw watch along this week because this week was chaotic and I need a break. So be on the lookout at socials to see what's coming down the pipeline. But yes, I keep it uniform. So if you find me one place, you'll find me everywhere.
Perfect. All right. How about yourself, Ella? What do you have coming up and where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at It's Ella J. I have an interview with Jasmine Allure coming out in a couple days next week. And if you're in Toronto, in Elimination Chamber, I'll be there. Please say hello. Now I'm even more excited because I know for sure Cena is competing. That's all I wanted this year was to see John Cena wrestle live. I'm good. That's all I need. We'll see where WWE takes us for Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair now. So stay tuned for that on WWE as well. I'm going to be following that.
Perfect. As for myself, you can find me here on Thursday nights with Papa Smokes doing Ring Respect Radio, covering things from independent wrestling to fun interactive games for everybody. Sundays, so tomorrow I will be here 11 a.m. Eastern time, talking all things sports for the week on Point of View. You can catch me every Saturday on Prairie Pro Wrestling with Papa Smokes doing the commentary for the new matches that we drop every Saturday. And coming soon, I will be debuting over at Horror Facts, where I will be a part of their podcasting team, talking different horror movies. So make sure to go over there and show some love and share their stuff as well too. But also check out OLE Podcast if you haven't done so already. We're across all social media, YouTube and Twitch. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all those wonderful things. Leave a comment below because we're always checking those out. I want to thank both Jose and Ella for spending the time here with me tonight, and to all of you for tuning in to a wonderful show here. Thank you, everybody. Take care and have a wonderful night.
Please note,